episode of Geeky, Sexual, and Intellectual. Today's guest is the wonderful, fantastic, majestic, magnificent, the blurred view, aka Johnny D.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we out in this bitch. We're talking today because, as we all know, unless you live under a rock or you just plain fucking blind, all the social issues that are arising throughout the nation of Black lives and police brutality and how it's affecting all of us, not just Black people, because the nation is burning. So, how you doing, D?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm Gucci. Yeah. I'm glad I appreciate you letting me come on the show. This is dope. Me and you ain't been on a show together in a minute, so I like this.
Yeah, our basis of conversation is usually down and dirty.
Fact.
So we're gonna
Fact.
try to get a little bit more serious today. How you want to start? You want to you know start it off. I don't know. I don't even know where to start with this. I wrote like a list of things I'd like to touch on,
Hmm.
but I just want to really see where your head is as a Black man because it affects all you know women and men of color.
Right. So I was sitting here watching the George Floyd video, right? And you know let's backtrack this, okay? Let's backtrack this all the way to February, right? So we had Ahmaud Arbery, right, was
Hmm.
killed in Brunswick, Georgia, and me and you used to stay in Georgia, you know what I mean? So
Yep.
that really hit home for me because I was like, wow, we really still out here in Georgia on the bullshit, and then I can cuss on here, right?
Oh yeah, you cool.
Okay. And then that happened in February, and we were just now catching these dudes in what, March, April,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Over Ahmad visiting a construction site. I was pissed. And they arrested those guys. They charged them with murder. And you know what? If you haven't, I don't know if you noticed, I need to go Google search, but I haven't heard anything from that since they got arrested and tried. Like they got arrested and like they got convicted of, but I never saw the results of that.
Yeah,
So
me neither. Because
yeah,
it's always something. It's
yeah.
like one thing will happen and then something else will deviate from that, and then it's like it gets brushed under the
Right.
rug.
So I need to make a post on the blur view because we ain't forgot about that. And then after that, right? What's it? What's the baby's name? Breonna Taylor, right? That's her
Hmm.
name. She got killed while asleep in her own home because police busted in her house with a no-knock warrant, looking for the wrong dude at the wrong place, and the guy they were looking for had already been arrested.
Exactly.
So it was like, so we had that literally right after, and then George Floyd. And what killed me about George Floyd, I was talking to my mom about this on my own show on IGTV. George Floyd, the cop that killed George Floyd, sat on they walked up to George Floyd, um, charged him with forgery of a $10 bill,
Hmm.
arrested him. George Floyd did not resist
Oh
arrest.
yeah, I saw the video.
Threw him on the ground, and they knelt on him for not. I mean, when somebody's resisting, you kind of got to struggle. You got to put your body weight on them. This man had his knee on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes, hands in his pockets, chilling, having a conversation.
Exactly. But when does human nature come in? Because they treat animals better than us. No,
Right.
if he did that to a dog, his
Oh,
ass would be under a jail. Like that woman that was choking her damn dog when she called the cops on that dude. So I'm like, we are beneath an animal, a domestic animal. They got commercials for them, save the pets, get them out of abusive situations. But where are those same justices for us?
because the system was designed. Look, this is the thing. We live in a country where the system was created solely for white men.
Oh, yeah.
And, I go back and forth about it. Maybe I'm going to sound anti feminist. I don't know. But, women, like, they gave white women the vote, I feel like, because they needed the numbers. When white women you got to remember, black people counted for 3/5 of a person, and they had only so many educated white men that could vote. But you also had educated white women. They needed the numbers. They
Hmm.
gave us the right to vote to shut us up. But then when we started voting, up from the time we were able to start voting up until today, they've been changing the voting laws on us, changing counties so we can only vote for certain people. They've blocked us from the ballot box. You know what I mean? Like this is a country that was formed to put laws in place against us because we've been quote unquote beneath them since they brought us over here. You know, my mom was saying that she saw a documentary where on the Civil War. And she was saying that the reason why so many blacks joined the Union Army was because when Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election, the person running against him was going to not only reinstate slavery, but do it nationwide and make it so that it was legal to bring blacks, freed or otherwise, back into slavery. And so she was saying that a lot of black people joined the Union Army because they didn't want to become slaves, whether they were freed by being set free or running away, etc. And so it's like they've been trying to keep us down since the 1600s. And you know, it always, people ask, like people have been going back and forth about, like, is this the right way to go about this? You have to understand, right? You know, I had to break it down to somebody on Facebook because, you know, I'm about that life. I argue with you all day. You know, people are like, well, why are you guys burning stuff down? Why don't you guys try peaceful protesting? Hold on, dog. Look,
Yes.
you mean when we tried to make our own communities after the Civil War, and you guys created the KKK in response? You mean when we were desegregated, when we were segregated and minding our own business, and y'all enacted Jim Crow? Do you mean when we were minding our own business and you guys bombed Black Wall Street?
Yes.
Incidences like Emmett Till, like, you know, the civil rights movement was predominantly peaceful. You know, we had incidences of violence, but the civil rights movement was predominantly peaceful. And you guys killed our leaders and hosed us down and sent dogs.
That's what I was about to say. No matter, and people always want to throw out there peaceful, be peaceful, be peaceful. Like you brought up the protest. Those people were walking arm in arm, hand in hand, and they brought out German shepherds, water hoses, slamming people to the ground, billy clubbing. So what do you, that at that point is self-defense.
Right.
If you raise a hand.
My grandma and my great-grandma marched on Selma the second time. Because remember, Selma had 2 marches. The first one was a massacre. The second one wasn't as bad. And so and people don't even know that. People know the Martin Luther King Selma March. They don't know the march that happened before because nobody wants to talk about the fact that they killed waited on and
because they tried to cross and they beat the shit out of them.
Right. And that's what I'm saying is like, so, you know, people talk about peaceful protesting. It's like, we've been doing peaceful protesting. Colin Kaepernick took a knee. And you got any athlete that took a knee or tried to protest, you guys tried to blackball.
Fire, keep them out. Yeah.
But now we're like, fuck this, we're done. And y'all are like, wait a minute, guys, let's hold on. This is not right. No. We didn't try. And this is the thing. Colin Kaepernick set us up. We don't give him enough credit. He actually set us up. He set us up in the best way possible because Colin Kaepernick and other athletes like him, the cheerleaders and the basketball players, the other football players that took a knee with him, they gave them an example of a peaceful protest. And the president of the United States, the man that is supposed to represent the people and prosperity of this country, trashed him for sticking up for the very same people that said president was supposed to be looking after. So Colin Kaepernick taking a knee gave them so many years of peaceful protesting. We gave you examples back in the day, right? You know, last time when like Trayvon Martin was killed and Mike Brown, we rioted and protested. Philando Castile. After that, Colin Kaepernick took a knee. Without Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, we couldn't shut these white people up about how we protest because they'd only go back to the violence. But because Kaepernick was able to take that L for us, it gave us the availability to say no. Literally 3-4 years ago, we tried to peacefully protest this same exact issue, and you guys were against it then. So now what do you have to say? And they're like, oh, well, I mean, but did you have to loot Target? Target's a multi-billion-dollar company.
Okay, my thing about looting. First of all, I can't tell anybody how to express their anger outside of don't murder and don't hurt. So first, I'm just going to go back to the basics. This is like you said, a multi-billion-dollar corporation. First rule of business is you have insurance.
Facts.
These people will be fine. I hate that small businesses, black, Asian, whatever, are, getting swept up in this tidal wave. But as a business owner, you have insurance. I looked it up yesterday. This falls up under plausible reason why you should file a claim for insurance payments. So I posted a video from a gamer by the name of Dr. Lupo. Basically, what stuck out to me in that whole thing, he was on his live stream, white dude, and he just put it out there. He said things can be replaced, people cannot. So people have their attentions diverted about the fire and the glass and the whatever bricks and stone and mortar. That's nothing. And again, I'm not supporting it, but it's just a backlash of when people are fed up and tired. This ain't nothing new. This has been from the day they quote unquote gave us freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So people are tired. You express your anger how you can. You can be in your house and be pissed off and slam a plate. That's your shit. You broke your shit. It's not on the same level, but I'm just saying shit happens. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong stuff, whatever. Shit happens. So you can't tell somebody they're wrong for doing it this way or that way. They did the same thing with Colin Kaepernick.
Right.
This is not the right time. When is the right time? It's never the right time for them.
No, absolutely, and that's another thing too. Like they always want to put a disclaimer or a timetable on how long we can protest our right to live as human beings. These are the same people that want to have our babies and have our hair and have our skin tone. I had somebody at work tell me I'm a phlebotomist, so at an ultrasound clinic.
Mm-hmm.
So healthcare has always been one of my I've always been in healthcare. Since I got out the army, and I'm sitting here, and this black woman walks in, and she's African, beautiful skin, absolutely beautiful skin. And my white coworker is standing there, and she's like, "I wish I had y'all's skin." I'm like, "Oh, here we go."
See, because that's an accessory. You don't know what come with it.
And I told her, I was like, "You would not trade your livelihood for ours just to have our skin." "Yes, I would. I absolutely love y'all's skin." I was like, "You don't know what the fuck you talking about." Like, you know what I mean? Like they want our skin, our muscles, our athleticism, our intelligence, you know what I'm saying? They want our hair. They don't want us. And that's the problem. They will glorify the shit out of us because we trend so often. You can't turn on social media without seeing black people taking over something. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. We're all over the place, and they want what we can do. They don't want us in general, and it's because of that. It's because for years, for generations, they've been using and abusing us in one way, shape, form, or another, and it gets old. It gets tiring. I was saying on my podcast, I can have the same conversations about police brutality, racism, and socio-political wrongs that with my great-grandma. My great-grandma was born in 1912. She died in 2008. And me and my great-grandma could have the exact same conversations. And she's lived through segregation, desegregation, Jim Crow, 2 world wars, multiple economic recessions and depressions, the civil rights movement. She's literally seen Obama. She's seen it all. And me and her can have the same exact conversations. And at this point, our children are, I know, my daughter's 7, yours is like what, 10 or something like they can have the same conversations with our grandparents and great grandparents. Mm-hmm. Even if it's not a direct correlation to them, they can still turn on the news and be like, "Wow, this is a thing." And then our great grandparents would be like, "Yeah, that's been a thing since I was your age." Like that's not okay.
And that's why I want to get into like generational. What do I want to call it? Generational pain, basically. So my Vietnamese friend, that's the only person that I've talked to of another race about, the issues that are going on right now. So I was trying to explain to her, I said, some of this is coded into DNA, black and white. Mm-hmm. So we have the fear of slaves running for their lives in our DNA. We got perseverance in our DNA. The same goes for white people. They may not feel like everything isn't so black and white. It's, oh, you're racist, you're bad. But it's in your DNA. Sometimes you can't control it. It's just like hereditary, like the fat genes. Your family fat, you might be fat. So I'm just saying it's in the DNA. There's things that their ancestors have done that have passed through their blood chemically. You have to undo that to stop the process. So like I was telling her, my baby has been, it's just so weird because I don't even know, I'm trying to pinpoint it while I'm talking to you. I can't even pinpoint where the fear came from. I've been pulled over 3 times since she's been born. The first time was a car wreck, and she was kind of stunned because it was a car wreck. The second time, she cried like a baby. I got pulled over for a tail light. I say, baby, what's wrong? I don't want to get in trouble with the police. I say, we haven't did nothing, baby. I just don't want you to get in trouble with the police. So he did what he had to do. It was real quick. And as he left, I'm still there trying to console my baby. He haven't even done nothing. Nothing really popped off, but it was something in her, an innate fear. That's a cellular level. So it's just, I don't know where to begin to break it down. Like I talked to her, and I think that's the thing. All races need to talk to their kids about racism, what the effects are, how to not be that type of person, how to be a better person. And that's where it starts. If nobody talks to you about certain things, it could be anything, sex. If people don't talk to you about it, you have a misunderstanding and you have misinterpretations of a thing.
True. But this is the thing, though, right? I get what you're saying, but also you have to remember, right? Not every person is a good person. Even our own. Mm-hmm. Skin folk ain't always kinfolk. Like, there are white people who are still racist, even in our generation. I mean, you're part of the same generation. There's racist people even in our generation. There's racist people in like the younger half of our generation. And then they're raising kids, and those kids, and this is another thing too. My mom was telling me, and I know I keep bringing her up, OG Bobby, but my mom was telling me when she was one of the first black kids to desegregate schools in Los Angeles. She was telling me there are white people who've never seen a black person before. Like I live in Alaska, and there are white people. Look, it blew my mind. But I live in Alaska. There are white people who have never dealt with a black person before. Yes. And, they'll say shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, you know what? Honestly, I didn't know this was wrong. I've never had to deal with a black person. I mean, up here in Alaska, the most colored you'll get is a Native American. And so and they don't classify as us. And, the tone and tension between them and other races is different. So like when it comes to, black people, there are white people who will legitimately tell you, I've never had to deal with one of you guys before.
Yeah, and, but you know what? It doesn't have to be a proximity thing because I talked to you about this. My job. Remember my job?
Right. Yeah, I remember.
So those people, they live in the city of Dallas. It's a multi-mesh of all races. Mm-hmm. But these people don't have to deal with people of color on a regular basis. So they don't see the wrong in their everyday actions. I was working at this construction company, and they would say things in the office. I was the receptionist or assistant at the time, and they would say things about Hispanic people and Asian people. And I'm like, I'm sitting here. I'm a person of color. Just because you're not saying nothing about black people, I take offense to that. Because if you say it about them, I know you're saying it about me when I'm not around.
Right.
And they showed me a video. One of the new girls that started there, she was going to meet a client, an Asian client that was having a restaurant built. And she's shooting herself and had the audacity to send it back to the corporate office, the president and her director. And it was her using a stereotypical Asian voice to depict her client. And so they showed me this. Like, I thought that was going to be hilarious. And they were laughing. So I looked at the video and I looked at them and I just walked out. Because at that time, I couldn't even say nothing. It wasn't a smirk. Like, I walked out like, no, I just looked at them like I just had witnessed something awful, because it was. And I just walked out. So he came back up. He was like, yeah, that was crazy. I was like, yeah, it's crazy that she thought it was fine to send that to you. And I just kept on typing. And so I'm like, it was probably about a year I had been on this company, and this had been building up and building up and building up. But then again, there's that fear, because I know I need my job. Mm-hmm. So I wrote it down. I say, okay, this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna stick to my points, because what I'm saying is factual and actual. So I said, hey, do you have a moment to talk? He said, yeah, come in, close the door. We sat down and talked. I say, listen, man, I've been here a year and a half now, and I've noticed some things that I just believe that aren't right for on the job and just right in life. Y'all say things about people of other races. Y'all say sexist things, and it just ain't cool. And it makes me feel uncomfortable. It's a dude in here that play with a knife. If that was me, I'd be fired. So I'm like, I can't comfortably continue working here if this is going to be the environment. And he was like, oh, Q, I had no idea. See, but it's crazy that you had no idea what you were saying is wrong because you haven't been called out on it. And you are in light company that, keep it going. So he was like, we're gonna change around here. We're gonna change. I was like, okay. So then the CEO called me in and he wanted to talk about it. And I told him the same thing. He was like, well, some things are gonna change around here. So it changed a little, but I'm just like, it's just the fact that they don't even realize in their everyday conversations and activity what they doing that is classified as racism. You don't have to be punching a black man in his neck and lynching him to be racist. It's
Right.
levels.
There's levels. And that's the thing too, like a lot of black people are scared. We work with and for white people.
Mm-hmm.
They hold the majority of the, for lack of a better word, they hold the majority of the power in society. You're
Mm-hmm.
black, and say it doesn't matter what your profession. You were in marketing. I'm a phlebotomist. I'm a healthcare professional. I'm a healthcare worker. It's because I hold multiple healthcare certifications. So it's like when it comes down to like we're black, we work with and for white people,
Mm-hmm.
and so you're torn between do I speak up and risk losing my job and my livelihood over these white people shenanigans,
Yeah.
or do I stay quiet and just let it ride and keep my job? You see what I'm saying? And that's
Yes.
that's the problem we face too, because a lot of black people work for white people, and
Yes.
you don't want to upset the balance for fear of losing your job, which makes this twice as hard. We saw what the NFL did to Kaepernick. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL at the time, and they were willing to let him go like it wasn't shit.
Yeah.
You
Because
know,
and that's another fear that they will never feel unless it's like some sexual harassment shit. Like, should I keep my
but
mouth
maybe
closed? Like,
even then.
yeah. But yeah, they lawsuits go through and they companies get shut down, people get fired. But I'm just like, we have to go through that mental monopoly to say, okay, if I'm gonna do this, what could be the fallout? Are you prepared for this fallout? Like it's a whole internal thing. Like I would sweat when I thought about it. Before I went into his office and talked to him, I was literally soaking in my clothes because I was like, the end of this conversation could be he can say, okay, I heard what she said, but when she walk out of here, I'm finna start laying a plan to get her out of here because
Right.
she's difficult to work with. Or
Mm-hmm.
what if she reports me? I don't want to deal with that. Just get her the fuck out of here. So I had played all those scenarios in my head. That's things that they don't have to think about. And
No.
it's sad that we do. We've got to protect ourselves and defend ourselves in the same breath.
Mm-hmm.
See, and that happened years ago. I don't even work there no more, and I'm sweating now talking about it.
It's hard, man. It's hard, and that's the thing. It's like and I was talking to, and then that brings me to another point. I was talking to a white lady. She has mixed kids. They're Puerto Rican and white,
Mm-hmm.
and they're still black. I still call them
Yeah,
black.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, she was on my personal Facebook page going back and forth with me about the right way to handle this. She's like, "Why didn't the crowd just jump the officer?" I said, "Whoa, that's
Yeah.
not." I was like, because you have to understand, if he's willing to kill one black man, what makes you think he wouldn't have killed the rest of the people in that crowd? I said there were four
Yeah.
police officers defending this one guy's ability, not right, this one guy's ability to kill another person. If the
Mm-hmm.
crowd had turned on that one officer, the other officers would have been justified to shoot into the crowd. So instead of one
Exactly.
black guy dead, we would have had to deal with a multitude of people dead at that point. It would have been a massacre. Not only would it have been a massacre, but the George Floyd incident would have got swept under the rug because they could have said, well, we were arresting him, and then all of a sudden the crowd turned on us and we had to defend ourselves. So now the cops look like heroes,
Mm-hmm.
and we got multiple people dead. And that's the thing, is like, she was like, well, they were just sitting there filming. I would have attacked her. I said, no, you wouldn't have, because there were four officers with loaded guns. You
Yeah.
wouldn't have, and honestly, I wouldn't have done it
Yeah.
probably.
No.
Because unfortunately, as much as like they were like the best the crowd could have done was record it and be like, hey, get off of him. Hey, chill out. We're not armed. There are states where the states make it difficult to get weapons on
Mm-hmm.
purpose for a reason. You're not going to be able to defend that black man even in a crowd against his circumstances, simply because the system has been made against that. They literally felt justified enough in his arrest and his treatment to kill him. What makes you think they wouldn't have killed the rest of the crowd? And that's what black people have to consider, because yeah, we could have rallied up and attacked the police, and then the police would have rolled through our neighborhood with tanks and SWAT gear,
Exactly.
ready to burn down
And
the hood.
martial law and
Right.
curfews while the sun's still up and all that other shit. But that's another thing. When you say the officers, stand by and officers, what I don't get is the mentality of a person. Fuck your job. You a person first
Mm-hmm.
with a mind. You can rationalize things. When you're standing there and you see your coworker doing something that is out of place and over the top, where is it? At what point do you stop them or just like, hey, that's what my partner doing right now, and I gotta follow behind it.
Q, you got to understand. They sat on that man's. It was 4 officers kneeling on this
Mhm.
man's body. That one officer kneeled on that man's neck for 9 minutes with his hands in his pockets, chilling, having basic ass conversation, probably about golf and dinner and how he beat his wife. I don't fucking know, but
Yeah.
like he having a regular ass conversation. You know what I mean? Like with his hands in his pockets, chilling. He was going to kill that man. They knew he knew when he arrested George that he was going to kill George. He knew he was going to kill that man. And that's I need an investigative report because it almost feels like an assassination more than excessive force. He knew George did not resist when he was arrested. They threw him on the ground. They knelt on his neck for 9 minutes, chilling with your hands in your pockets.
Yeah.
You knew you was killing him. I don't know what beef they might have had, but I feel like it was premeditated murder because there's no way you got this man handcuffed and arrested and ready to go, and you decide to throw him into the concrete and just kneel on his neck until he suffocates. There's
But at
no.
some point, it has to click in that I done been in a fight in Atlanta. Okay, let me tell you about this. I knew exactly. Hormones was going. They was going
Man.
like when you could feel your pulse through your whole body. And
Mhm.
I headlocked a girl and I kept dropping her. I did this like 3 times. And at one point, I say, Quincy, you can kill this bitch. You got to stop. Like it was something came. So and we're in the underground, in the martyr. So
Oh,
I still had in a headlock, and I had to sit down so I could calm down and rationalize. Like you going too far. This fight is won. It ain't nothing she can do to you because she not a brawler. She not a fighter. So she just out here fucking around. So and I say I'm gonna let you go because this is going too far. And I let her go. I say don't start this shit again. Go on.
if y'all ever
So at
talk.
some point, it clicks in. People, you black out, but some point it click in and say, "Ooh, shit, this is about to get too heavy. I don't want this kind of smoke because I could have killed that girl and went to jail." That man knew at some point he needed to get off his neck.
But that's why I say it was premeditated. Him
Yeah,
and officers just stood there watching this man die. They heard his cries, and any of the officers could have been like, "Hey, man, get up." They
they could have
they
put him in the back of the car.
they stood around chilling, shooting the shit, bullshitting around until that man died. They knew they were gonna kill him. That's what I'm saying. They knew. All 4 of those officers knew they were going to kill that man when they rolled up on him
Yeah,
because there's no way, like you said, there's no way in your conscientious mind that you're just like, damn, he looked like he's struggling. Oh
yeah,
well. Like that takes a certain mentality.
yeah.
That takes a certain. I've done 2 tours in Afghanistan. 2 tours in Afghanistan in a combat MOS. I have been shot at and had to shoot back, and it takes a certain mentality for you to look at somebody dying on the ground and be like, "Fuck them." And
Yes.
I, in war, did not have that mentality. When the same person on the ground had been shooting at me just 2 minutes prior, even in war, I did not have that mentality. That's something that was premeditated. They knew they were going to go in and kill that man, and they wanted that man dead. They just didn't think they were going to be the cops to start an international civil rights movement. That's
Exactly.
what that was.
Because my whole thing is it's the gap in time. In 9 minutes, you have time to calm down, rationalize the situation, and come up with options. At any point, they could have put that man in the back of the truck or cop car, whatever. It was so many different things they could have done than what took place. That's why I said that man's life had no value. Like you said, they had already, if he die type of shit. So, and I think that's just the mentality, all this stuff. You know what? I'm going to skip. When I see stuff like that, we see a lot of videos of us getting killed. I can only imagine the shit that ain't getting filmed.
No, absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. There
It's
was an
just
event.
baffling
There
me.
was an event the other day, literally the other day, while this protesting is going on. I can't remember the state. Black guy allegedly rolls the stop sign, and the police, I think he's in his driveway, or they pull him over on the street next to his house, something like that. But he gets out the car, and he gets out the car, hands up. The police point a gun at him, yelling, hands up, hands up. He's got his hands up, and this happened in April, but the video surfaced recently due to the George Floyd incident. But the cop is harassing him, threatening his life, telling the man to get his hands up. Man, Ben had his hands up.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with you. We're not seeing Ahmaud Arbery's shit happen in February. Yeah. We're just hearing about it in April, March. Yeah.
The funny but not funny. The funny thing about fucking criminals, why do they be telling folks they crime, and in this situation recorded their own fucking crime?
Because when you this is the thing, when you represent the law and the law represents you, you don't see yourself as a criminal. You see what I'm saying? Like when you, and it's the thing too, right? And a lot of people joke about it, but people say like that would have never happened under Obama. When a police brutality happened under Obama, he made dashing of body cams mandatory. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing. When you have somebody like Trump in office influencing the background, influencing the entire nation, people of his mentality are in power. They, what did they say? It was an American History X. They said, like, we'll just come back as your judges and your police officers and your doctors. Yeah, you got to understand, like, these are the people in charge of our well-being are the same people who have Trump's mentality. And all it took was for somebody like Trump to be put in office. That's the thing. George Bush didn't really say no racist shit, right? Bill Clinton wasn't really on any racist shit. Now, Reaganomics was fucked up, but that was indirect racism through economics. Like, we're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, we haven't had a legitimately racist president in a, like outwardly racist, outwardly hateful
I'm going to say the difference is between this president and previous presidents, the shit has been covert and behind the veil. His shit is right out there in the open. He didn't told everybody else, it's okay. Let your shit hang out. Be you. And so that's why it has swamped the country. Like, you ain't got to hide your racist mentality or actions, not no more. Because look at the president. He on TV and Twitter doing it.
Right, and that's the thing, and that's why these people feel like they can get away with the shit that they do. Body cam or not, they know that, well, fuck, Trump's in office, the law will protect me, because that's one of their own. It's that good old boy system. They know that, well, Trump feels the same way I do, and even though Trump doesn't come out and just blatantly call us the N-word, at this point he might as well, but he's not going to do all that. But they know what kind of people Trump represents. And they are all, and they feel like they have the right of way to treat us any kind of way because Trump does the same shit. Remember, when Obama was president, yeah, they called Michelle gorilla and lynched Obama mannequins, but they were on their P's and Q's when we walked around. They were like, oh, you know what I mean? Because we felt a sense of empowerment because Obama was president. Because there was a black man in charge of the country, we built for free and were slaves through and all this stuff. Like, we felt a sense of empowerment and entitlement, and they felt that, and they left us alone. But the moment you bring somebody like Trump in, right, the people that he represents now feels entitled and empowered, because that's how influence works. And that's what we're dealing with. And now we got to vote between, now there's a couple of independent parties out there, but now we got Democratic Trump or Trump.
Because you know what? I've been on the fence. I'm not going to say I was on the fence. I've been suspect of Joe Biden since I watched that movie, When They See Us. And then I started doing research into his voting when all this shit went down. So he was just as bad when it comes to what's the I can't even think of the policy now, but it's basically fucking throw them all in jail. I can't even remember what he voted yes on, but I'm like, okay, so if you felt that way then, yes, people change, but that had a huge influence on people's lives. So in that matter of time, what changed? How much of your policies changed about people of color?
Biden hasn't even came out and said what he was going to do for minorities in America and how he was going to improve our situation.
If he says something, I don't believe it. I don't believe nothing they say. At this point, government needs to be deconstructed and rebuilt because this shit, I have a problem with somebody that can be in politics and hold an office till the day they die. Like
Facts.
the president got 4 years, you get 2 terms. That's 8 years. Bitch, you got 8 years. On year 6, you need to be start training somebody to take over after you. I'm just like, you can't be in office forever.
No, I agree. And this is the thing too, is like you have to understand, like the same people who are still in office now were the same people who were in office, some of the same people who were still in office when my mom was a kid, right?
Yes.
You have to look at like and those people were raised in an era where black and brown people and even Asians at one
Mhm.
point were treated like shit. And that's what I'm saying is like we've kept the same power we've kept the same mentality in power since
Exactly.
my great grandma, since before my great grandma. And that's the thing, we need to, as you know, Diddy got so much backlash when he said don't vote for Biden just because he's Democrat. And
Yeah.
people came for Diddy. But Diddy had a point. We need to stop voting for people just because, like, oh, Obama was a Democrat, so I'm going to vote for Biden. No, or Biden was VP with Obama. So, no, fuck that. If they don't have a clear-cut plan on what they're going to do for minorities, we don't need to vote for them, period. Because
Exactly.
the problem is we're putting people in power based on popularity or based on party or based on association. We're not putting them in power based on representation, which is the whole point of government in the first place. And so you have people coming in who look good on paper, who go on black news outlets and speak nice and say cool things, and Hillary Clinton trying to pull out hot sauce on
Yeah.
on
I don't
radio.
care what you say. I want to look at your history.
Right.
Since your political history.
Not only your political history, but I need to see on paper your plan for us because we've been struggling for so long. White people don't need extra help. You could be an ex-con, ex-drug addict, whatever, as a white person and still get a better opportunity than a well-educated, straight-laced black person. So I don't want to hear, like, white people don't need handouts. I need to hear how you're going to fix this country's issues with police brutality, racism, socio-political, socio-economical issues when it comes to minorities, like not being able to get a loan if you live in a certain area code, or being not being hired because of your hair texture, you know what I mean, or your hairdo.
Oh yeah.
Even though we got like Karens walking around with big ass purple, yellow, and blue hair and shit, it's like, no, damn that. Like
That's what I say.
we
It's on all levels. They think okay. So I follow here the Dallas Morning News on Instagram. So they put up today that they're going to think about instating the curfew here in Dallas.
mm-hmm.
The mayor's been talking about that. So as I'm looking in the comments, some guy put on there. It had nothing to do with that post. He put something in there. Of course, white guy. Yeah, that's good that they're going to do that because they're just tearing up everything. These freaking criminals and thugs. Our president was right. They're just jealous of us. POCs are just jealous of Whitey. I was like, dude, it ain't even about jealousy. We just asking to be left the fuck alone and given the same rights that you have. That's all this is about. It ain't about no fucking jealousy. That's
you
why I
know
know they on a petty level. Because you can't even think. And it's hard to try to talk to somebody like that because they have no rationale of the situation. That
no,
things have been put in place to hinder us on purpose.
on purpose.
And
But
you could show him a document or report on redlining, and it would go right over his head.
you know why white people don't want to give us equality?
Hmm.
Because if white people give us equality, they don't have any more advantage. A poor white, somebody said this to me and this shit was profound. As long as a poor white person feels better than a black person,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter how poor they are.
Yeah.
As long as they feel better than us, as long as a poor white person living in a trailer park right now feels better than me, an upper middle class black person,
Mm-hmm.
they don't care what happens to us.
Yeah.
They White people are afraid of losing advantage. Period. If everything was equal and even, right? A white person would get tried for the same crime as a black person and get the same sentence as that black person.
But what's crazy to me is that they can't even see that as an advancement of a culture, of a
Because,
nation, of a
because
people.
they lose advantage. Like white people know. White boy, a couple years back, you remember that white boy that raped that girl behind a dumpster, got 3 months?
No, it's
You
so
don't
much
remember
stuff
that?
going on. I can't keep up with everything.
A couple years back, there was a white boy. He raped a girl behind a dumpster, texted her the next day and apologized for raping her. He went to jail. He went to jail. They got him out days, not even days later. Went to court. The judge said he was only going to give him 3 months for the rape because he didn't want to ruin that. He was like a swim star, and he didn't want to ruin that boy's reputation because he was a good kid. He just made a mistake. If that was a black man, he would have went under the jail. Now, if whites and minorities were on equal footing, that white boy would have got the book. He would have been under the jail, just like a black person or a Hispanic person or an Asian person would have. He would have been under the jail. White people don't want to lose that kind of advantage. White people know that they can walk into a black anything and shoot that shit up, and they get escorted out with Burger King and a minimum sentence. Yeah. They know that. They know that they can get away with mass shootings and mass murder and genocide and all types of threats and internet cyber bullying and cyber threats and all. They know they can get away with that shit. White people know they can get what they can get away with. White women know that they can just call the police on a black person and get them arrested if they feel some type of way. They don't even have to feel threatened to know that they can just, you know what, you're getting on my nerves, I'm gonna call the police on you. They know they have that advantage. And for them to, and for the society, for the government to put us on equal footing as them, they will no longer have the same privileges and advantages. White people do not want to lose what they have because they feel like they've earned it, even though they've raped, pillaged, and destroyed lives to get it. They don't want to be on the same footing because they don't want the same punishments. They don't want the same disadvantages. If a white person and a black person were on equal footing, that means that I could walk into a job more qualified and get it. That good old boy system where, hey, buddy, I know your dad.
Yes, that shit got to be abolished.
It's not gonna fly. They know that they would have to work for their credentials. They would have to work for their success. And truthfully, by statistic, black people, specifically black women, are more qualified and more intelligent than any other demographic in this country.
I was just talking to my mom about that.
Every white man and woman would lose to the next black woman standing right next to them. Out the gate. Not to mention the black men coming up who've been trying to make a way for themselves this whole time. They don't want equality because they would lose their advantage on society. The only place a white person can go and not have the advantage is Africa. Why? Because everybody look like us. That's the only spot. Because after South Africa said "fuck these white people," Africa is the only place that they can go and not have the advantage. The only place. And they realize, or Haiti, or the Dominican, you know what I'm saying, like any of those places. If it's not predominantly black, they will always have the advantage, and they don't want to do that. This is the thing, right? And I might sound conspiracy or theorist or crazy.
It's all a conspiracy.
True, but it's my thing. You have to think about it like this. There's a fuck ton of black people in America, right? Fuck ton of black people in America. If white people lost their advantage, what would become of America? It would no longer be white America. You would have a country that is run by the minorities that they crippled and destroyed, to the point where white people would not only become the minority, but they would become the disadvantaged.
I don't even believe that. What I'm saying is I don't understand why they lack the complex thought that it would take to understand the growth of a nation. When we say they steal and pillage, what I go back to is all the black inventions that we've given through time. Like, people don't know black people created the stoplights. They don't know the refrigeration system. When you see those 18-wheelers with the refrigerator, that was a black man. Heart surgery. I'm just like, the things we have given to this country. So it's an advantage to work with us instead of against us. We still giving stuff.
But you have to understand, like I said, if you have the upper hand and somebody comes along and says, I'm going to bring you down to my level so that we're even, and you've had the upper hand for so long, you don't want to give it up. You're not going to want to give it up.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it goes back to, a saying that I heard years ago. You don't have to give black people equality and lose something. You can gain something. But I don't know how you retrain a mind to understand you're not losing anything.
But they don't see it like that because
Mm-hmm.
they've been on top for so long. And that's what I'm saying is like
Mm-hmm.
this is what I'm saying. These are the same white people that not a couple of months ago made it illegal in multiple Republican, mind you, Republican states to get abortions. You know why? Because their death to birth ratio
Oh
was
yeah,
so uneven that they had to stop abort. They had to make abortions illegal so that more white babies were produced. That was
exactly. I
not a
was talking to
conspiracy.
somebody about the exact thing.
That was not a conspiracy theory. That's legit. They're so afraid. That's what I'm telling you. If we become equal with them, we will supersede them. They know that. We created the stoplight, the cell phone, the hot comb, you know what I'm saying, hair care products. We taught them how to bathe when we were Moors in Europe after North Africans took over Europe. Like after the plague. They know what we're capable of. They know it. They are afraid of what will happen. If they give us, they're afraid that if they give us an inch, we'll take a mile from them.
But that's what
And
they
that's
feel this way because that's what they have done. So they project
hey,
that onto everyone else.
hey.
Like, no, I want to work together so we can get past this phase. And speaking of that, I want to play devil's advocate. So people want to say how to end racism, blah, blah, blah. The pessimist in me says this shit is never gonna change, Johnny D. It ain't gonna change. It's that this is I don't even know what to say after this. I don't feel like racism is going anywhere. You can try to start with the babies. So that's the optimist in me. You can try to start with the babies. Everybody else that's walking the earth right now, we trash. So you'd have to start with a whole new society of people and starting it from birth, like the experiments they ran on babies back in the 60s and 70s, where they would have a baby in one room and show it all its love, and then have another baby. They would feed it. They wouldn't show it affection. They wouldn't talk to it, and that baby would not survive.
Mm-hmm.
So we would just have to start over from scratch because
This,
civilization is trash right now.
you know what? And this is my thing. This is my thing. American civilization is trash because we don't face racism in Africa. I'll say this. You're right, and I'm gonna tell
Well, we
you
have
why.
genocide in Africa, but that's another story.
That's, like every country had
Yeah,
that's something.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
this is my thing. You know why you're right? Because the moment this is what's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, this is what's going to happen. If America and it might just have it's a cycle that we're gonna have to go through to progress as a society and as a species. But if America decides tomorrow to give blacks the same opportunities as whites, the exact same, right?
It'll be reverse riots in the street.
That exactly. But not even that. This is what's gonna. I'm telling you, this is what's gonna happen. And I know I sound like a black supremacist, but I'm just gonna be one. I'm just gonna be real. If they decide to give black minorities and whites the same, put us on the same level, we will supersede them, and then we will become the racists that we fought so hard against.
I don't
Because
believe
we,
it. Well, you know what?
we
I go
will.
back to a petty mind. A petty mind will do that.
Right,
You're
because
gonna pay for everything that I
we're
felt.
gonna remember.
Yeah.
This is the thing. We're going to, like I said, black women are the most intelligent demographic on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all get in charge. Y'all put us on. Black men, we come up, we do our thing. We're gonna remember all the shit we've been through because we're still angry because it hasn't been fixed. We're gonna get on top. We're gonna remember all the shit we've been through. There's still going to be racist white people with that mentality, but that's not going to be an acceptable mentality anymore. So they're going to get treated like shit. Their peers are going to get treated like shit. Then, as a collateral damage, white people who don't have that mentality are going to be treated like shit because now we have the advantage. And so now that we have the advantage, we want to treat them like shit because that petty hive mindset. Black people have a hive mind. People don't. Well,
Yes.
people in general, but definitely
Yeah.
black people have a hive mind. Black people are going to be like, oh, well, we're in a better spot now. Fuck these white people.
It's our turn, and then it's their turn
And
to suffer.
yeah, and we're going to, and it's going to be a rough, because there's going to now be black people who have to stick up for white people because we want to oppress them so badly out of sheer pettiness and revenge. And that's not the answer, but it's what we're going to want because we're not used to being on top. We're not used to being even. We're not used to being equal or better than.
Yeah.
So imagine a world where black people are equal or even better than. we're going to treat them as less than because it's our turn to have that advantage. It's like
That's
the
why I
cat.
say it needs to actually be equal because everybody need to get shitted on. Black people in power now. You fucking up and you being showing the same racist after effects. We shitting on you too because
Right.
it's at that time it's a cycle. They did bad, now I'm doing bad. They did bad, now I'm showing. It's got to stop because we just gonna keep repeating the same shit.
We would have to, in order for America to work, we would have to come together with the healed. Okay, it's like a relationship, right? You
Hmm.
get out of a toxic relationship, like you spend years in a toxic, abusive relationship.
Hmm.
You get out of that relationship and go right into the next relationship. The next relationship could be amazing, but you're not going to see the forest for the trees because you're still traumatized and haven't healed. Blacks and minorities in America need to have a moment to breathe.
Hmm.
Laws need to be passed, and we need to, as a culture, as a people, heal first and then proceed. I'm not saying that we shouldn't get equality until we've healed. No, 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 no. Give us the equality, but black people need to be in the mindset. We need to, as a people, come together and be like, okay, look, so we got what we wanted, but this is what we're not going to do. And we need to hold each other accountable, make sure we're checking and balancing each other, and heal as a people from all the. Now, once we finally get what we want, we need to heal from all the shit that happened before that, and then proceed. Otherwise, we're going to be just as bad, if not worse, than the white people that we're trying so hard to fight against and
Exactly.
change the mind of.
So, what would you say the realistic next steps of all of this should be?
So my
Because,
mom. Oh,
mhm.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead.
Because me personally, the only thing I can think of once everybody, heated tempers come down and emotional effects calm down or cease, where it lies is voting. People, when they hear voting, the only thing they think about is the presidential vote.
Mm-hmm.
That don't mean shit. What I mean by voting is on a local level. Because even myself, I had to put it in my cell phone. When I worked in radio, I was helping one of the on air personalities. We had put together a piece on the website all about voting at the time. That was when freaking Bush, Trump was, running and campaigning. So we put on our website the local candidates, what their platforms were, put their link to their website so you can see everything they voted for and they past political history, so you could actually know. So we put like a little soundbite of what they stood for. And you can just go because a lot of people don't do the research. Half the time, I don't want to do no research, but you got to do it. So that was our contribution to it. So basically, people need to vote on a local level.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like the superintendent of your education system, get his ass out of there. You don't like your police chief, get his ass out of there. That's something that you can do that's affecting you in the immediate.
Right.
So that's what people forget. They need to go out and register to vote.
Me and my mom were talking about that. She said that the next step, the direct next step after all this looting and rioting calms down,
Mhm.
the direct next step needs to be that we need to write, contact our political representatives and make sure that they start enforcing laws that are against police brutality, against racism, that punish people who are openly doing stuff like that, that are, change the laws so that blacks have an equal footing. And if they don't want to do it, then we need to kick them out of office, like you said, and vote people in that will. And we need to make sure that when we are voting, the people we're voting for have clear cut agendas for minorities, period.
Exactly.
Period.
And
There's
you got a
no
time frame to make it happen. You out of here. We're not gonna give you all these years. No. What's your time frame? Okay,
be,
you set that time frame. This shit is not done. I'm sorry. Next.
because we could kick Trump. Like I've been telling people, we could kick Trump out of office. The reason why we don't is because the majority of people that voted for him are rich white people. They're not going to want to get rid of him. They've gained too much from him being in office. But even on a local level, if Trump is president, technically Trump can't do shit without Congress.
Hmm.
Congress can't really do shit without state and local representatives. If our state and local representatives are for us, it doesn't matter what Congress, even though we can vote Congress out too, it doesn't matter what Congress and the president, look, that's irrelevant because we're here, we're doing this, right? That's the most important part is the state and local level. We need to make sure after all the smoke is cleared and the cities are no longer on fire and we calm down a bit, we need to then take it to the mayors, the governors, the chief of police, the superintendent of education, we need to take it to our representatives and say, look, we're done. Either you're fucking with us or you're not. If you're not, get the fuck on and let's get somebody in who will. And I mean, our and this is the thing too, right? Our representatives have Twitter accounts, email, Facebook, Instagram. Like some of these motherfuckers are on TikTok. Like there's no way we can't, there's no way we can't get in touch with these people. Hey, tweet them every day. What the fuck are you doing about this police brutality issue? Where's the bill? Where's the draft? They can post it. Like, how are y'all voting? Go to the town hall meetings and be like, hey, yo, what's good with this? Like, we need to make sure that this doesn't just end at rioting. Because after we riot and loot, if we stay silent, that's it. It's done.
And that's what keeps happening. And I hate to be the one to say that, but we do this shit and then it stops. So that's why I say your power is in your voting. And what a lot of people don't think about, they get riled up when it's all happened. And like we said, they stop. But I'm like, it's stuff you can be doing all the time. Like Sean King, I follow him. I go to the protest I can go to when he puts it on his website. He want to donate to families that have lost loved ones that were the prime breadwinner in the family. He say donate to them. We got the NAACP. You can go to that. You can go to the ACLU. You can do that. You can find ways to have power. Because there's been plenty of times I sit here and I watch all this stuff and I just start hyperventilating. Like, what can I do? I'm just one person. What can I do? How can I make a change? Can I even affect any change? So, but you got to start reaching out and writing to these organizations and donating to these organizations. We do. Because they're reputable.
We do. The NAACP, I mean, definitely, for damn sure. They've been around since the 80s.
Ever.
Yeah, like, definitely the NAACP. That's the thing is, like, we have so many outlets and organizations. Even these fraternities need to get involved. You know what I mean? Like, like, we definitely need to, hell, the nerd community. We have so many sects and groups and organizations within even the nerd community. Because at the end of the day, it's like I tell people, this affects you. You're still black. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're I'm a nerd. Okay, you still black. So at the end of the day, that could be you walking out of a con and get snatched by the police.
Dude.
And then what?
I'm glad you said it, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I was so heated last night. I'm not gonna name names, but I'm gonna lay it out. So I was on my feed and a video popped up from a black gamer. And he put a video up to state that he wasn't going to use his platform to speak on these social issues. That's not what my platform's for, yada, yada. I say, so you just wasted 2 minutes of my life to tell me that you're not going to say shit, but you said shit? We can see your feed. We see you not saying shit. You could have kept that. Right. But I'm like, dude, it could be you.
Right.
I know this is a totally different genre. We talk about dumb geek shit, okay? This is serious when it comes, our shit is dumb when it comes to this. But I'm like, what is it going to hurt you to show where you stand?
These are your people. This is your, like, you trying to appease your white audience, your white and Asian audience is not
that part.
Because at the end of the day, they're still going to treat you like shit when you walk out the door. When you put the games down and you turn off Twitch and you go outside, what did Jay-Z say? Still nigga.
Exactly. So I was like, my dude, that was a waste of fucking time. Why would you even? So they show us where you stand. By you saying it, but you weren't standing. You said you thought you weren't standing anywhere, but they show us where you stand. So I immediately went to all his platforms and unfollowed him.
Right. What did that mean? How that meme go? It smell like bitch in here. Like, yo.
I was so confused. Like I'm not gonna use my platform. Get the fuck out of here.
Especially when a black person says that, get the fuck out. Because you have to understand, man, at the end of the day, even if your content does not promote journalism in the news, right? Hell, even if you're a King Vader or Long Beach Griffey did a skit, but even if you're a King Vader or an RDC World or, what I'm saying, like some, you're still black. This is your life. Just because you're a nerd is not liking Dragon Ball Z is not going to save you from getting your ass beat by the police.
Yeah.
It's not. Liking Sailor Moon or cosplaying Sailor Moon is not going to get you any less flack from white people. Matter of fact, it might get you more. That's what I'm saying. It's like at the end of the day, that's my struggle with the nerd community for sure, because we're nerd podcasts, both of us, is that they want to be, oh, well, it's not my, that's not nerd centric and that's not really affecting me. Okay, but when they blackface, when they racially and sexually gatekeep you, when they decide that, they're going to be racist towards you guys in the group chats over cosplays or video game characters or what have you, like with how they did Nessa with Pokemon or how they were blackfacing in Japan, or, like you want us to be like, hey guys, represent this.
Yeah, it leaks in on all levels.
Like,
That's how petty racism is. It goes everywhere.
you can't sit here and pick and choose. Oh, well, this is nerd centric, so I'm gonna no, because if we had tackled it on a social level, on a broadened social level, it wouldn't have got this far down into the nerd level, because we would have stopped it at the source before it even got into this area. And that's what I'm saying. Like, black and brown people in the nerd community, a lot of them don't understand that. They get mad, they get heated. Well, it's not nerd stuff. Why are you posting this? Because if we stop it at the source, because there was racism before there were superheroes. There was racism before there was cosplay. There was racism before there was theater. Well, yeah, there was racism before there was theater. You have to understand, like, this has trickled down that deep. So if we stop it at the source, you won't have to call on us to rally for your cause, because there won't be a cause to rally for or against.
Exactly. I guess the closer of all of this would be, we've been talking about white people. So what about white people that want to be allies? How can they do their part to be allies?
Yo, shout out to Melly Rock Cosplay in DC. That's Bae. She been on that shit. She's on my personal she's on my personal pages, and she's on my podcast pages, and she's been riding for us real hard. There's a lot of white people who are being allies, and they're at the expense of their reputation, like, heavy right now. And I respect and appreciate that. It means a lot. I know we're always scared. When black people speak out, we're always scared that we're doing it alone. And yes, we come in mad numbers, but if white people don't police white people, then us yelling and screaming, it's not for naught, but it helps to have those allies. And I'm glad that we have them. Truthfully, we need more white people with that mentality, because at the end of the day, if they start policing up themselves, that means that it's less work we have to do. It's less of a fight that we have to fight. And it means that we're coming into a point of, and black people, we see y'all, and it's starting to show solidarity across races, across genders. And that's what we need. Because again, if and when black people and black and brown people finally get what we want, and we get that equal footing, we're going to need to heal. And the people who we're going to need by our side to help us heal are those non-black and brown allies. Exactly. Because we need to look at them and remember that not all of you guys are bad. Despite 400 years of oppression, not all of you guys are bad, which means we don't have to carry the spiteful, hateful, petty, revengeful energy into the future.
Exactly.
So, but I tell them the same thing we just talked about. They need to vote. They need to make sure that the people they vote for have minorities set for have agendas, set for minorities, clear-cut agendas set for the success of minorities, not just for themselves. And if the people that are empowered don't want to be progressive, especially when it comes to minorities, then we need to vote them out of there. We need to vote them out of there, because at the end of the day, it's going to come down to political power. And as long as those in power have the old way of thinking, we're always going to have the old system in place. Period.
Exactly. So my closing thought on this is, we, consume a lot of entertainment, right? So I look at The Handmaid's Tale? That's not too far-fetched from being reality if we don't change this shit. We've seen a lot of things in film that have come to fruition in reality, whether it's technology or what have you. That's not far-fetched, people. So if we don't do what we need to do, that could be our reality.
Right. Absolutely. Fahrenheit 451, Big Brother, like all of that.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your intelligence, all the options we have, what we need to do, how we all can be better And yeah, because I have some male friends, they just like, I can't even consume nothing right now. I can't talk about it right now. My soul is crushed. So I understand you probably going through the same thing, but I'm glad that you know, gave me a chance to put this out there on the airwaves.
Gigi, you know I'm about that life.
I know you rational and petty. That's a dangerous combination.
About that life. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever to me. You know, somebody has to be the voice.
Yes,
And I'm
man. All right, brother. Well, I will talk to you later. You know, we always in them DMs.
right.
Uh,
I will holler at you.
all right, then.
Thank you for
Bye.
letting me come on the show.
No problem. Be safe.